Where can I put my money that's halal, safe, and that makes sense?
They always say halal, Sharia compliant, Islamic finance, ethical financing. It goes all about principle based. So people would like to feel, okay, I'm participating, I'm having some added value somewhere. It's not just I have money.
Their feedback on this is it feels wrong. It feels wrong to make so much money, but that doesn't make any impact on the real world. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Islamic Finance Podcast. Today we're going beyond theory to talk about something many people ask. How can I actually invest my money in a halal way? With us is Dr. Mohamad Darwish, a leader in Islamic finance and structuring. Dr. Darwish has been helping shape real investment products across the Middle East. So it's a real pleasure and honor to have you here. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Dr. Darwish?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah ta'ala wa barakatuh. Thanks a lot for this introduction and thanks for inviting me for this broadcast. Indeed, it will be a pleasure to have this discussion today and to share what knowledge, what experience that we have, and hopefully to be valuable to the receiver of this and the watcher of this broadcast.
Inshallah. Before we start, I was interested to know what first drew you to Islamic finance?
Oh, it's a very interesting question. And this takes me back quite 10 years back. I'm not that old, by the way, but it's good, more than 10 years, to be honest. So I have been graduated from, finance degree with experience and also post-degree study in auditing, start working in a bank. And I found that a new concept coming up about Islamic finance. I'll be honest with you, at that time, it was, I think, 2009. I wasn't aware about this concept. I heard about it, but I'm not really aware how it works, how it operates. So that, creates a big question to myself as Mohamad Darwish, just to answer it to myself. And have been granted an opportunity to go study Master in Islamic Finance in Malaysia at INSIF University.
Inshallah.
So that was Jan 2010. So I thought, okay, let me go to this opportunity and let me go see what is this Islamic finance concept. So we know finance and what is about Islamic finance. And it was kind of something interested by different people, different investors, different, I would say governments also, just to know more about. So I thought, okay, it could be an opportunity just to explore it more. Here we started, for sure. And that start Jan 2010 didn't end until this point of time.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm thinking 2009 you said. Is this because the crisis happened
I think
the previous year?
Yeah, I think you touched base on very interesting topic. And at that time I was doing my master degree and I talked about audit committee and trusting and having a trust of the users of the financial statements in it. And that was mainly due to crisis and Sarbanes-Oxley Acts at that time. And I should remember, Enron issues about the auditing. So there was kind of a governance matter, and governance concept was quite new. 2006, 2007 crisis came in, and we found that from the crisis, technically at that time I wasn't a professional person in this community, Islamic finance, but I have found Islamic banks not impacted.
Yeah.
So that tells what the reason, what do they do? Like today, if you see someone fit and he's an old person in age and he's fit, and you see a young person is not fit, you ask yourself, what is the secret? Yeah, what's the reason? So let's learn about it.
Inshallah.
So that, yes, was a big thing just to know. And that later we'll see, I think, during the discussion where we'll take us, that they have a unique model about, the economy and the transactions and so on.
Alhamdulillah. So as we'll be talking about investments, just a little warning to our listeners. So this podcast is only for educational purposes. So nothing discussed should be considered like financial or investment advice. That being said, so also a lot of our listeners aren't financial experts. They just want to know, where can I put my money that's halal, safe, and that makes sense? So let's start from the beginning. Before knowing where to invest money, what does it mean to have a halal investment?
Yeah. I think I like your statement when you mentioned, I have money and I want to invest it in somewhere makes sense. Definitely, I would say from investors' point of view, from people point of view, everyone has his own criteria, his own objectives. And when it comes down to investments, people, they have different behaviors. But I would say a common criteria I've seen, at least from my personal perspective, is that people always look for a safety, as you mentioned, a good return, and a trusted system, to be honest, and I'm making an impact. I'm impacting somewhere, the society, I'm impacting the people, I'm having a positive, let's say. So that's why they always say halal, Sharia compliant, Islamic finance, ethical financing. It goes all about principle based. So people would like to feel, okay, I'm participating, I'm having some added value somewhere. It's not just I have money. So all of this kind of criteria, it happens to be, as you know, not as an absolute, I would say, statement, to be considered and part of the Islamic finance methodology or structure or approach. Saying that, yes, we operate based on risk sharing between parties, but at the same time also we have reserves mechanism. So it's not about, yes, you have to take risk to be entitled for the return. No, you have to take the steps, the measures, the requirements to deploy the measures required, the required actions to be taken to ensure you protect your money. So from safetyness perspective, you have to do that, as whether we are talking about it from investors' point of view and a financial institution or funds or whoever. Now talking about a Sharia compliant, which is something I would say from what I have seen as well, something required, demanding by different investors also, or ethicals. People, they say, okay, I want to invest something adding value to the society. And you know, from Islamic finance point of view, we have certain criteria, right? Where if we want to invest in this channel or in this instrument, so that things is covered. It's part of our fact sheet when we go to any investment product or something.
Right. So it makes very sense to me also, because I've heard so many examples of people that had made money, but from pure financial products, like leveraged products, etc. And their feedback on this is, it feels wrong. It feels wrong to make so much money, but that doesn't make any impact on the real world. On the other side, people, when they invest in real things, they feel like they deserve the money. So as you said, this also joins the halal way of making money. It feels like there's an impact, there's a real thing behind this. So in the same way, so what are the key things to avoid when you want to invest?
Yeah. It's a very interesting question. And leveraging on also what you just have said, usually investors, they like to keep their capital protected. And this is all right. People put certain efforts to achieve this level or to have this amount of money. So they want to grow it and they want to maintain it. Things driving them to Islamic finance in particular, getting back a bit to the start when we started about crisis, is to avoid speculation, which is something very important. And I think we talked about behavior as part of our discussion. So investors' behavior to keep investing and to keep investing, I need to protect, I would say, not guarantee, to protect my capital, to have certain. So they saw from, let's say, economy perspective, or they saw from previous crisis perspective, speculation is leading nowhere, leading to uncertainty, which is definitely a basic principles in Islamic finance to avoid any certainty in any actions you do, whether you are on the financing side or you are on the investment side. So since the concern is the investment side, so technically we have to ensure there is no uncertainty in what we do. Yes, you have to know, look, I'm going to invest in this portfolio, in this index, in this equity, for example, funds or whatever. So you know the objectives of that funds, you know the objective of that investment. So have that awareness built, and definitely have the system where you ensure that governance framework is there. And adding to this, to have a proper Islamic finance governance or Sharia governance to ensure the same objective. So I would say Islamic finance operates exactly the same way of normal finance. There is no difference, but the add value is different. The key principles we look at it is different. Mostly is that, or in particular from economical point of view, money is not commodity.
Exactly.
Money is just medium of exchange.
Exactly.
Let's engage in real economic transactions and, invest. And here is the tip for investors. Okay, I feel today I want to invest in this indices because it's energy related things. And we talk about energy, which is a big topic globally. Imagine how much add value you are doing if you are growing that space, you're providing your fund to that space. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that creates, I would say, an objective, as they call it, an add value to me as an investor. Okay, I'm participating here. So you see, we all going around the same topic, the same parameters, but definitely it will grow. And I always say, finance and banks, they use fancy words usually, but at the end of the day, you could understand how I can, fix it and achieve what I have to achieve.
Thank you very much. So now I think we have a good, nice framework that allows us to start to know now where to invest. So I've drafted some domains or topics of investments, but of course you're the expert. You will be able to tell me if we need to add something on it. First, when we think about investing, we think about stocks and equity funds. So stock is like having a share in a company, as simple as that. We can define stock as this. So how do I know if a stock is Sharia compliant?
Yeah. I would say we are lucky in this region, in particular UAE, because I would say we have all the reasons, all the infrastructures, all the sources where it tells me what is Islamic, what is Sharia compliant, what is not, and what is going to be sometimes, if you have some people to speak, they tell you, yes, we are working towards fixing this. And I definitely hear a big thank to the governments where they give this push to people and give this opportunity even to investors. Yes, you have this optionality. Now, as you are aware, in this market, we have multiple subcommittees within certain industries to make certain analysis based on the criteria of the Islamic finance and to ensure or to give opinion, is this a Sharia compliant indices? If it's not, if this share is Sharia compliant, if it's not. And the best part of it is not things done at once only. I think they do it based on a certain frequency. So maybe today this share is a Sharia compliant, tomorrow is not. So it's kind of an informing to the market and the company. Okay, you have to do further enhancement. You have to do some work, and they go do, which is something very good. So what I like about the market here within the UAE and the GCC, they are moving faster in it. There is demand and there is a will also, I would say, from corporate perspective, just to ensure compliance with that. And that technically, I would say, is well developed in areas like GCC and going even to a global scale. Some, as you are aware, some Sharia advisors, they have tied up with a certain stock exchange where they provide certain advices, or they tell us this index is Sharia compliant and this shares listed here, it will be qualified as a Sharia compliant. So that market is quite developed. Yes, I would say entire industry, it's in development phase. Why? Because it's growing, and you cannot just compete with a normal conventional financing started very old time for certain decades, and just over a period of time, okay, I want to reach there. So the potential is huge. The support of governments, and that's why we see like most of the governments, they put on their agenda Islamic finance. So why? It's very, so potential is there, will is there, investment is there, demand is there also from people, all aspects, whether you are on the financing side or on the investment side as well.
Right. So as you said, we're lucky, alhamdulillah, in GCC because we have a lot of tools to know where to invest. So I have two questions about this. First, can you provide us the tools, and especially for the viewers that want to know where to invest in this type of equity? And second, outside the GCC, there's a lot of people. For them, what solutions do they have?
Yeah. Usually I will start from the second part of your question. What I have seen on the global market, usually if it's not, let's say, cleared or advised by other Sharia advisors as a consulting firm, usually some people, from what I know, they try to get in touch with a specific Sharia advisor just to make a certain Sharia screening on such shares and to ensure if it's in compliance with the Sharia compliance requirement or no. So that solution is there. And I know for a fact there are some like advisors, this is their area of expertise, and people reach out to them globally just to check, can check for me this share, can check for me this stock, can I invest in it or not, what should I do? Is there any purification percentage I hold this share, what should I do, what can I do? So that matter is there. Now, talking about like what optionality or opportunities, yes, I mean, we have multiple things, I would say, from the local market if we talk about the UAE. And that's why, alhamdulillah, from number perspective, it's not me. I'm not recording exactly these numbers, but the number of transactions happening in the UAE markets, whether Abu Dhabi market or Dubai market, are huge.
Yeah.
It tells that, so there are many people coming from abroad also. Similarly, I think there is the other GCC countries also, they are quite, but I think UAE is leading in this regard. So that's why local markets here, they are, providing very good opportunities and options and choices as well to the investors, whether internally and from abroad.
Do we have any known or popular like system or platform for this type? Can you disclose any name? What do you think?
I think I could up to a certain extent just to avoid like promoting some, not others, but I will technically from, I think, local markets, what I know from brokerage companies, they have their own separation Sharia list or Sharia. They tell you this is a Sharia compliant list, this is not, which is something very good. And even if we go to the global indices like S&P and those, they have, I think, they have a specific, for Islamic, which has been advised by specific people. And it's something done for them, by them in a smart way, because they need to attract investors. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So for them, it's maybe a new market to serve. Some people would like. So they said, okay, let's tie up with certain Sharia advisors and build it up. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah. What about companies that have debt? Because a lot of people now, I receive a lot of questions going in that sense. They say, but now every big company especially has a lot of debt. Is there a tolerance zero about that? Is there any criteria?
Yeah, of course. There is a criteria set by Sharia scholars on that. I think by AUFI also. There is also criteria on the interest on non-Sharia compliant income. So there are, from the assets perspective also, there is a criteria. So that criteria is there. And the good part, I think, here the beauty about our industry, there are requirements of different expertise here to have, and definitely to be under the supervision of the Sharia scholars or, the Sharia advisors. But the requirement of building this tool is well advanced now. And I know also for a fact some, I would say, whether advisor or financial institutions, they have certain automation on this. So just have this, you insert the data from the financials. By yourself, you will know. That flexibility is there.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Which something, it could be passed to the people. But yes, there is a need for validation, maybe people to feel more comfortable. Maybe as a person, maybe I don't know how to read the financials to classify certain things, because here we are talking about reading financial statements, certain classification to be considered, not to be considered based on the disclosure. So I'm not trying to say this is a complicated task, but I would say sometimes it's not really straightforward action to be considered.
Another question on this topic. Should beginners use Islamic mutual funds or ETFs?
I would say these all based on the risk appetite of the investor. To use this or that, so we are talking about options. So what do I need? From tenor, from return, from the risk I'm willing to take. Maybe am I allowed from regulatory perspective if I'm classified under this type of investments? Let's say, am I individual or professional investor? I'm a private banking client or a normal retail client. So all these kind of things considered. Is this meeting my minimum ticket or not as a threshold? So all these questions, has to be answered, but depends me if I want to take that risk or not.
Exactly.
That's why something very good I like also investment globally, and I think similarly has been done here also, suitability, just to see the risk appetite form. So it tells you what are you exactly. This is a very good point. Am I classified as a risk taker, moderate? So what is my classification as an investor? So all this together, it drives toward taking a decision. But again, I would say from investment point of view, it's always to have a trusted partner, a trusted advisor. That's something required from commercial, from business perspective, similarly to the Islamic finance perspective.
So it's case by case. There's no invest in this, it's for everyone. It depends on the profile of the investor, on the risk appetite, as you rightly mentioned. If one is willing to take a lot of risks or no. So it depends. Now let's go to Sukuk. I know that you like Sukuk.
He's going to the hot topic now.
Yeah. Now I feel that you will like this part of the podcast. For someone used to conventional bonds, what's a Sukuk?
It's a very good topic. And I think something is good to mention as a remark. The advantages, I would say, and the development and the infrastructure and everything from Sukuk issuances perspective that we see, alhamdulillah, in the UAE market is amazing. It's fantastic compared to other side of the world. So I think you asked the right question in the right place, but maybe not to the right person.
Really?
No, I'm just joking. No. So inshallah, we'll be able to answer this. But yes, Sukuk is something where simple formats, it's investment instruments for investors who would like to invest their money. The difference is that mainly we have in Sukuk, we structure, under different structures, Ijara, for example, service agency, whatever is it, or these kind of technical things. But usually it has to have majority of it an asset, an essence.
Yeah.
Getting back a bit to basics, we said money is not a commodity. Money is medium of exchange. So how I will give you a paper against the cash? I should back it with something, right? So you should have. And now we were talking about being part or engaging into real economy transactions. So what you do here in this part of the world for Sukuk. Yeah, perfect. So we have to have certain assets tagged to it to sell it to the Sukuk holders, have this paper, you should get the cash. So there is a full process happening. It's not just a paper against the cash. It does not work. And luckily, when we talk about Sukuk, you need different parties, which is mainly external. I'm talking about it external from, let's say, the financial institution, like rating agencies, legal counsels. So imagine to have all those people aligned, and everyone, and auditors also, and every one of them has different agenda, different scope, which they need to ensure. So how you will ensure that? That is the beauty of that project when we talk about Sukuk. And that's something, where in particular UAE and Dubai succeeded in this market to be a hard number in the Sukuk hubs. That's why we see a lot of investors coming here just for issuing Sukuk. I mean, I'm not talking about local. I mean, something very good to highlight, and I think you are aware, you are part of this market also. You see, like, issuers coming from the KSA, from Bahrain to issue here, which tells something, right?
The market is flourishing.
Yes, it means you have the know-how, the expertise. It's a very good thing.
Alhamdulillah.
And definitely, I would say an advantage to us from different aspects. It's not about commercial aspect. It's also about learning more.
Yes.
Having further accessibility, having the infrastructure, having the variety also, which is something very important.
Are Sukuk risky? We talked about risk appetite. What is it a safe investment? How is Sukuk structured?
Today we are sitting here. We don't know, maybe the sky will fall. I mean, the ceiling will fall on us. I would say always there is a risk.
Yes.
Risk is there. Is how you mitigate that risk. But is there an element of risk? Yes, even in bonds, which is the common one, default risk. No one will pay me back my money. It's very simple. So all the risks are there, right?
But for example, bonds, it's considered less risky than other types of assets. Is this the same for Sukuk? Is this considered like less risky than, for example, stock? We talked about stock.
I think here we are talking about different classes, which is, I would say, from my point of view, can I compare it? But I cannot compare the return also, right? So it's a different asset class from my point of view, or investment class. So the risk of the Sukuk is there. You will have it because it's linked to underlying assets.
Yes.
But has been structured in a certain way. For example, if we talk about service agency structure, where certain acts and services has to be done by the service agent as per the scope of work. So here is, I would say, the beauty of the financial engineering in the Islamic finance. So that's why structuring work in Islamic finance is not that easy, because you have to ensure meeting the objectives, the requirement of different stakeholders, investors, Islamic finance, legal. So that's why I started with the language. Can I mitigate? Can I have zero risk? I don't think you can have a zero risk. But can you mitigate it? Yes, of course. Can you build it up in a way that no effect will take place? Yes, of course. But that can't be as an absolute statement, because if an expert hearing me saying that, they would say, oh, but Sukuk is not guaranteed. Or other one, they said, but the Sukuk is guaranteed. Yeah. It's all about the structure. What structure I'm following?
Right. Can I, for example, invest in a Sukuk, or it's not accessible, or it's accessible only for big institutions?
I would say here it depends on the regulatory framework of the market you are investing, which comes under something called selling restrictions, which is part usually of this kind of instruments, I would say, a requirement for selling. So maybe that instrument to be sold, for instance, for big investors with a specific ticket size, to be allocated to funds. Then funds, maybe they will sell in the secondary market. Maybe to be sold only to a professional investors, can be going to individual. So it's unlike buying a table to the Sukuk.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I can't go to any furniture shop and buy a table if I have the money. I cannot just go to, tell me, give me that Sukuk, I want to shop this. It's not exactly the same way, but I don't want to be misunderstood also here. It's not that complicated if you want to buy. You have the financial intermediaries, which helps you, provide you the services required to do so. Yes, if the requirement is there, normal. From regulatory framework of that country, from selling restriction, from tickets, and so on.
So even if I want to invest in a Sukuk, I can?
Yeah. If you meet the criteria, of course.
There are options.
Yeah.
I have to live in the UAE, or maybe someone from France, for example, where I grew up, they can also invest in Sukuk.
Yeah, that's most of the Sukuk, the roadshows happening outside the UAE. And definitely, usually the listing happening mostly if it's foreign currency, it happens outside the UAE for these kind of reasons, by the way.
Okay, so it's different. It depends on the scope.
No, that's why it's open. You come invest.
Right.
And definitely certain KYC, so and so, and it goes.
Right. Sukuk, we finished. Sorry.
So we can leave.
Okay. But still interesting. We now can talk about real estate. We're in Dubai. Real estate is, as you know, a big market also. But we'll talk about real estate in general. And real estate is often considered halal because it's real estate. It's something existing. But are there conditions to invest in real estate?
Actually, I don't know too much about it, I'll be honest with you. But from overall, I mean, if you have the criteria you want to go buy property or, definitely there is certain criteria also if you want to apply financing, which is something very good. Even now, what I heard from the developers, even off plan, now is being financed by Islamic banks, which is something very good.
Yeah.
I think there is a kind of a tie-up with, Dubai Land Department on this. This is what I heard. Again, it's not an official communication I'm making here, but from the knowledge I know, which is something very good, which means they are opening up also for both ready and off-plan, whether you are resident, non-resident. So things is flexible. And as you mentioned, by nature, if you buy real estate, by nature, it's Sharia compliant and use it for Sharia compliant purposes. So what's the harm?
Right. I saw some platforms, it's fintechs, that allows to buy real estate, but like a fraction of real estate. And then from that fraction, you can, if it grows, you will make money. Are these type of platforms allowed? Like fintechs, I saw that one is minimum 500 dirhams, you can start to invest in real estate. Do you have any idea if it's this type of thing?
Honestly, from the greater perspective, I have no idea. But I heard about this concept, like which they call it crowdfunding concepts, exactly. Which is, I think, it's quite popular these days, not only within the UAE, even outside. But what is the legal framework on it? No, but that would give opportunities, for people they would like to diversify their portfolios and to have different baskets, I would say. And technically to allocate a small ticket size and to be, participant or a partner with this kind of fund on these kind of things. It adds value, to be honest, because you will have access to multiple platforms, multiple investments.
It gives access to a broader audience, let's
say. Exactly.
So now another asset class. We can talk about startups and gold. Startups are considered risky, for example, because it's a new company. It can grow very fast, but it can fail also. I saw some numbers like, I think 90% of startups fail. So it's very risky in that sense. But higher risk means also higher return.
Correct.
For example, imagine this 10%, there's the next Amazon or next Uber, They will make a lot of money and you will make a lot of money with them. So can I invest in startups or fintech with Islamic principles, basically?
Technically, if this meeting the Islamic principles Sharia compliant from the main activity perspective, from the source of fund, what they are willing to do, yes. But this is, again, it's not an absolute statement. It has to be validated, but overall, yeah. And something here to highlight, the startup now is the trend, I would say, in new graduate people, which I like it currently from their mindset. Everyone willing to have their startup. They don't have in their mindset to be graduated and to get a job and be employed. They're working towards having an idea and work on it. And I mentioned very good examples like Amazon, Uber. So where are those companies today? Imagine if that person said, no, I will go submit my resume to work in Aramex or to work in this courier company. Where he will be? Maybe he will be a director, head of a department.
But there will be no Amazon.
And there will be no Amazon.
So you think entrepreneurship is a good thing?
It's very important. And actually today, even at your daily work, if you don't take that initiative, even if you are an employee, if you don't operate an entrepreneurship mindset, an agile mindset, in a practical way, you will not succeed.
Right.
Believe me, if you follow just the process and sit and wait, you will not deliver anything. I'm not saying that you don't comply with the policy of the company or the process. No, you do. But you need to go, finish your things, propose, work on, deliver, hand over. If there is something to be changed in the policy, it's made by man at the end of the day. You can use it, right? You can fix it.
So having a thinking forward approach is
Exactly.
it can help the organization itself.
Exactly. And to change, what drive to growth usually? The change. We cannot keep doing the same way, right? Now you don't have paper. I think you have iPad. But I don't have any paper, right? So that brings multiple things.
Jazakallah khairan. What about crypto and gold? Both.
Something very big.
Yes.
I'm not really expert in gold, but I usually feel safe as person to have some gold investment, to be honest with you, because I would say this is a traditional instrument tested by previous people. Like you buy gold now, you'll say something else tomorrow. And we see the prices, they are, increasing. It's a high. It's not for a short period holding perspective, I would say. It's something to be bought for a long period for investment. But again, it's like any other instrument. But if we look, again, that's why I said the word tested, used before. But if you look at the previous performance of it, it tells the longer you hold is the better. And that's something we always say from investment point of view. I cannot predict tomorrow.
Yes.
What will happen tomorrow?
We cannot know.
I don't know. That's why they keep saying, this is previously what we have done, this is how it has been grown, this how was the performance, and so on. Crypto is something new to everyone. And there are different views and, I would say even opinions from Islamic finance point of view, as far as I know. Even certain regulatory requirement is yet to be there, is discussed. So it's new topic, yes. And always something new. We don't know how it will be because, again, always I say investment is based on a behavior. So how people will behave toward this paper, because investment is demand and supply.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So if, let's say all of us, we go to crypto and let's say it's a Sharia compliant, all is good. Perfect. So what will happen? Naturally, it will increase.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
Is it tested before? Not really. That's why you will have different views.
So about crypto still, different views means what? So, and about what crypto? Because now there's so much crypto. The most known is Bitcoin. We can take, for example, Bitcoin as an example. There are different views even on Bitcoin.
From my point of view, definitely I'm not talking from the UAE market perspective. No, I'm talking about, yes, broader perspective and my own perspective. As far as I know, based on my reading, yes, I could sense that there is different views on it.
Yeah.
Do we have a solid view about it? Sometimes up to a certain extent, yes. People tell you, yes, it's okay. Do we have unified? Personally, I haven't seen. Maybe there is certain communication shared, discussed somewhere. Maybe I'm not aware about it, but from what I know, still different views at it in terms of what is the definition of it, what is the legal framework of it. Is it assets or a digital currency?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it that? Is it this? But good things to talk about is people, especially they don't stop. They keep digging and searching and making certain studies just to see. And that's not only from Islamic finance point of view, even from regulatory perspective, from, let's say, business perspective, from multiple perspective. And everyone now is asking about it. And there are multiple people investing in it.
It's a good thing. I think it pushes also the Sharia scholars to really think about the crypto, this new thing called crypto.
Yeah. That's the good things about Islamic finance, actually. Now, from Islamic finance point of view, first, we don't have one product, loan, and we stop here. No, we have multiple variety of assets, right? And that's the beauty. You cannot just issue one resolution or one act or one decision and leave it for the next 30 years. No. Definitely principles, basics, objectives will not change, but if certain inputs has been changed, it could lead to an acceptance. It could be a difference view, or it could lead to a rejection as well. You see what I mean? What something could be allowed based on a certain situation can't be allowed based on another situation. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that flexibility where I like, and that's why interpretations, it make a big difference. You see what I mean? How deep you go into a special subject, it make a difference in the decision also, whether positive or negative. I'm not talking about always positive.
More generally on digital assets and trading platforms, what is the Sharia stance on this?
Here I would say it's always about getting back to basics. I always do this. What framework those guys they have, and is it leading to speculation or no?
Yeah.
Is there any uncertainty there, which gharar or no? You see what I mean?
Yes.
So is it like a short selling kind of a things or no? There are, I would say, very big structuring questions to be answered to ensure, but from a high level standpoints, from, as you said, like these kind of platforms, further studies required to be done in this regard. So that's why I have been called, I think, last week on something similar, where people for university, just to do like kind of, lecturer on general things. So just something to say what kind of questions can be asked and answered by research. And when those guys, you ask them, the students, it's amazing. Most of the questions, if it's not all, about digital mindset.
Yeah.
Like, if we do digital, what is the background of it? If we do digital, it's like you don't see the manual and the traditional way of doing business is there anymore. So it's something has to be considered today with a big consideration to be dive in it. It's not anymore normal digital assets transaction like you buy and sell, kind of a forex or something, which is not acceptable, as you know. So it's not a kind of thing just quickly, okay, buy and so tell me what is the detail of it. And sometimes you need even IT experts to explain to you about it, because it has certain back-end things, which me as Mohamad Darwish, I don't know. See what I mean?
Especially the new generations now. We grew up with internet, all of these things. So digital is part of, their world. So they want to know. But unfortunately, it tends to, they sometimes forgot the traditional way of investments, everything. So they need more education, I believe, on traditional. I think it's a good way of also being aware of all the possibilities. That's what I wrote for asset classes. Do you have any other thing in mind?
No, actually, I think we had a very good discussion about this, and I like the different aspects that we discussed it on this today.
But now it's not finished. Now, let's say, personally, I have $1,000 or $10,000 to invest.
I thought you have 10,000 questions.
It will be a very long podcast, I think. $10,000. I prefer to have $10,000 than questions.
Okay.
So how can I allocate this money? Do you have any idea?
Yeah. I will give you personal view, personal behavior.
Yes.
Because again, everyone has his own, I would say, requirement, own objectives also, and needs. I personally feel safe if I have part of it in gold.
Okay.
Also, if I can, to have part of it, I would say, in real estate, if we have this kind of options about crowdfunding and these kind of things. I wouldn't mind part of it to be a foreign currency, If I'm, let's say, I'm dealing with euro, or sorry, with dirham or dollar, to have some money in euro, because I mean, as a basic person, if a currency goes up, the other one go down,
Yes.
and vice versa.
Yes.
So at least I'm holding something here, so I have another side. So if I lose here, I gain there.
Again here. Exactly.
Kind of maybe hedge. Technically, I mean, as a person, I'm having tendency toward real estate, as I told you. So if I have that opportunity, I will go further, big, to a real estate, a physical. But I know like multiple people like prefer further to have different assets class from an investment perspective, like equities, sukuk. Sukuk I consider strongly as Mohamad Darwish, is what I mean shares. So this, or this kind of things, IBOs now is growing,
Yeah.
and there is a demand. Opportunities also are there even from the market. And if you see also multiple things or multiple IBOs issuances happening recently in the UAE, they worked on it to be a Sharia compliant. You see what I mean? So you feel there is a big driver coming from not only from investors, even from government, from regulators, central bank maybe, by nature people moving to have, okay, why not? I'm issuing IBOs. Let me tick this box.
Yeah.
So I'll have further investors or bigger
Right.
scope.
Okay, so gold, real estate, sukuk. Sukuk also, no?
Yeah. Sukuk, yeah.
So I have a lot of options, alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
You are the structuring expert, Dr. Darwish. So just briefly, how are these halal products structured behind the scenes?
Yeah. There is two schools I like to highlight from my perspective when you develop any product or any structure. Whether you follow Sharia compliance routes or Sharia based routes. Sharia compliance is very simple. You just go to any financial product, get it, try to Islamize it, structure it, how I can do it in Islamic finance way, and you work on it. And now we'll talk a bit further in detail how that will happen. Or you may say, okay, I know this product has been offered, let's say from current account perspective or investment perspective, and I want to have a Islamic structure. So maybe you just jump, say, let's use Mudaraba for instance, which is mainly Mudaraba is not existing in conventional world. I know they have something called joint venture, this and that, but it's not really existing in the conventional banking. Yeah. So that you can just jump, say, okay, let's do Mudaraba, which is my personal classification. I say this is kind of a base product, so it's like coming directly from the Islamic books. Now, talking about which is the common practice now, how to convert or to make Islamic products and ensuring you ticking all the boxes and having the real add value and the essence of it. So here is the requirement on structure, Islamic structure, what documentation to be used, what is the underlying flow. So it's not that straightforward something, There are additional steps has to be taken, internally, externally, just to wrap this product or to structure this product or to make such offering. And here technically like a structure in Islamic finance role comes just to say, yeah, let's see how we do this, how we implement it.
So we have two options, right? We can take an existing in conventional and make it Islamic, or can we make something from scratch Islamic?
Yeah, like if you, let's say you do Mudaraba financing, there is nothing, no precedent in conventional. So, or I don't know, up to a certain extent, maybe partnership. It's not really there, right?
Yeah.
So that's something you built it from scratch.
Right. As you said, in conventional, money is commodity. So they can just use the mean of exchange that is money to make money. So it's not like partnership. There's no notion of asset investment. They're just using money to make more money. So it's just in essence, as you said, it's completely different.
Yeah.
We have just a few minutes now. Alhamdulillah, I think it was very interesting and insightful. Now we can give advices to, last advices to our viewers. If someone wants to start their halal investment journey today, what's your top advice?
My top advice, actually, I always have certain criteria to check. First of all, who validated this? Technically, the validation is something very important because it gives a sound, I would say, governance system to me to feel more comfortable that being checked properly.
It gives credibility.
Credibility, you are absolutely right. Number two is that who is that party is issuing or offering such things, because I need to check the Islamic finance perspective. That's absolutely right. And I need also to check what are my obligations, what are my risks. So I have to be aware about it. Something it's very important being done in the UAE. Definitely many things, but I like to highlight two things could be linked here. Having the consumer protection law, which is something amazing. And if you go there, you see they build in the Islamic finance related provisions, articles, which means Islamic finance offering is under the radar of the...
It's regulated.
It's regulated.
We have a framework, basically.
Yeah, so, I mean, what more than this you need if you come to, as an investor, you need this. So government itself ensuring such validation done in a certain rule. So what more than this rigorous system or the strong governance system you have to follow and to trust?
Basically, this means that not anyone can come in the market and issue what he wants. It's controlled, it's regulated, it's supervised by government.
Exactly. Plus, there is the central bank, the higher Sharia authority, where it tells what you have to do, what you don't have to do. I mean, that's something very good. I mean, in terms of having that big system around. Plus, government itself, you are aware about the announcement of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed earlier this year about the Islamic finance agenda and the strategy. And mainly he mentioned Sukuk.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about Sukuk as an investment instrument. So what it tells, you have a full support of the government to say. So something is very important, like to tick as an investor, this has been monitored properly, this has been this. And definitely to feel comfortable from issuer perspective, from risk perspective. I have a, let's say, middle risk or low risk. So I'm expecting this return. No, but I need a high risk. So I will expect this risk also, this return. So that, let's say, equation is meant or kept to the person to decide on it.
Last question. What's one principle from Islamic finance, obviously, you believe everyone, Muslim or not Muslim, can benefit from?
I think mostly the objectives of Sharia. Maqasid Sharia. Because actually, again, finance is finance. I'm not denying this fact. But I would say, what are you adding? What is your contribution? Not only to you here, to yourself later, to your kids, to your relatives, to your people, to your community. What are you doing?
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So that's something, it's very important that I always say, to do things with passion and to really add value to what you are doing is not to yourself only, to others. That's something very important. And I think it's not me, I'm not that person, I'm very small to say that, but Islamic finance ticks these boxes.
Alhamdulillah.
It's not my witness. There are other people who said that. I'm just trying to report it, that's it. And I think you are doing the same here.
Same. Alhamdulillah. I couldn't have said better than this for the wrap of this podcast. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan for first accepting my invitation. I really liked doing this podcast with you. Maybe we'll do another episode if you like it also.
Thank you. So thanks a lot for this invite, and definitely it's my pleasure, and looking forward if we want to do another thing. So I'm open.
Jazakallah khairan.
No issue.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khair.
Wa iyyakum.